Have you ever read those stories from the Gospel of John, the ones we usually call miracles, and just felt like, maybe there's something deeper there?
Yeah, something beyond just the spectacle.
Exactly. Like, what if they weren't just these amazing one-off events by one unique person, but actually profound signals, maybe spiritual codes meant to light something up inside us?
That's precisely where we're headed today.
Okay. So today we're doing a deep dive into Dr. Roy's teaching on the 7 indications of spirit working in Jesus as they show up in the Gospel of John.
Right. And our mission really is to look at these not as some kind of supernatural magic show to just, well, marvel at, but more as indications or signs. They reveal what Dr. Roy points to as this full, unwavering connection to the divine mind.
Divine mind. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. Think of it as the universal intelligence, the source of everything, that underlying reality. And crucially, these signs show the capacity of spirit, that divine reality, to respond through what we could call awakened awareness.
Our awareness when it's tuned in.
Exactly. When our own consciousness is aligned with that source. And the big insight here isn't about putting one person on a pedestal.
Okay.
It's about revealing the image of God in man in all of us and the incredible potential we all have when we're fully aligned with that divine reality. We're really exploring them as inner truths.
Inner truths. Wow, that does reframe everything, doesn't it? So these 7 indications, they give us insight into how an awakened person, a son or daughter, in that language functions spiritually.
Right. Someone, or rather a state of being, that hasn't lost that original connection to the source, to the Father.
So each event is like a code, a living metaphor.
Yes, inviting us to look past the surface story and see our own spiritual possibilities.
Okay, let's dive in. The first indication, turning water into wine. John chapter 2, the wedding at Cana.
We all know the story. Plain water becomes fine wine.
But what's the inner transformation Dr. Roy sees there?
Well, connecting it to that bigger picture, the metaphysical meaning is about transforming outer awareness. That's the water.
Our everyday sort of sensory view of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our natural understanding. And transforming that into inner spiritual joy and truth. That's the wine.
Ah, okay. So wine isn't just wine.
It represents a kind of spiritual vitality, a mature understanding, real joy. It really pushes us to ask, what can we transform inside our own awareness?
And that makes it so practical. The source material says water is like our basic emotional understanding or natural knowing. And wine is that upgrade spiritual vitality, deeper understanding, joy. So this first sign shows our potential to lift our everyday awareness into spirit awareness.
Through that oneness with the divine.
Yeah, it's like a blueprint for turning, the water of our mundane moments into the wine of spiritual experience.
Beautifully put.
Okay, moving on. The second indication. Healing the nobleman's son. This is John chapter 4.
Right. And the key detail here is the distance. The son is 20 miles away.
And he's healed just by Jesus' word. No physical contact, nothing. Distance doesn't seem to matter.
And that's the core teaching here. Spirit just isn't bound by space or time. Physical distance. Irrelevant to spiritual awareness.
Which makes you rethink a lot of perceived limitations, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. How often do we think distance is a barrier?
So Jesus' awareness of the young man's wholeness, that was the active principle. That brought about the healing.
Precisely. Despite the physical separation, it shows healing isn't really about the outer world or needing to be there.
It's more like realizing a wholeness that's already present in spirit.
Yes, already present in that universal essence. And it gets extended or activated through our individual consciousness.
Wow. So our awareness isn't really limited by miles, but maybe by our belief that it is.
You got it. Our perception creates the boundary.
Okay, indication number 3. This one feels a bit different. Healing the man at the pool of Bethesda, John chapter 5.
Ah, yes, the man who'd been waiting for years, stuck in this awareness of delay, needing something external to happen.
And there's a really important point here from the sources, something Dr. Roy highlights, about the angel stirring the waters.
Right. That part, the idea of an angel physically stirring the pool, is widely understood by scholars, and certainly in this interpretation, as later additions, inserted mythology.
So not part of the original core message.
No. The real metaphysical point is about waking up from what Dr. Roy terms inherited consequences thinking.
Inherited consequences, like karma, or just feeling stuck because of the past.
Less about specific karma, more about that feeling of being locked into your current state because of past events or circumstances, or even just a sense of limitation you feel you've inherited. The man thought he needed the water, the angel, the timing, someone else.
He was waiting for an external trigger.
Exactly. Which prompts the question for us, right? How often do we wait for some external sign or help for our own transformation?
So when Jesus asks him, will you be made whole? It's not a judgment.
Not at all. It's a call. A call to recognize the wholeness already within him.
Ah, so the indication is that healing is an inward realization.
Yes. Not earned, not waited for, not performed by someone else to you. It's an internal shift in awareness first.
A recognition that then shows up outwardly. It really flips the script from looking outside to looking within.
Completely.
All right, number 4. This one's probably the most famous multiplication story. Feeding the 5,000. John 6.
5 loaves, 2 fishes, thousands of people. Seems impossible by any normal math.
Right. So what's the spiritual math here?
It's multiplication through spiritual awareness of sufficiency. That's the key. Where everyone else saw lack, overwhelming lack.
Just a few loaves for a huge crowd.
Jesus perceived the infinite supply that's inherent in spirit. It's a fundamental principle. Our perception of supply shapes our experience of it.
And that feels so relevant today with worries about scarcity and not having enough.
Absolutely. Those simple provisions, the loaves and fishes, they became more than enough because they were infused with gratitude and this awareness of divine abundance.
So the teaching is, stop focusing on the outer measurement, the apparent lack.
Yes, and instead rest in the abundance of your source. When you do that, sufficiency just multiplies naturally.
It's a total shift from a scarcity mindset to realizing boundless supply.
It really is a paradigm shift.
Okay, from abundance to maybe mastery. Indication 5, walking on water, also John 6, Jesus walking on a stormy sea.
Yeah, a powerful image. The metaphysical significance here points to mastery over, well, a couple of things. Turbulent emotions, for one.
Chaos within.
Right. And also mastery over what Dr. Roy calls the appearance realm.
The appearance realm, you mean like the physical world as we perceive it?
Exactly. The world of sense perception, where things look solid, separate, maybe threatening.
The sea often symbolizes that emotional ups and downs, the subconscious, the seeming chaos of external events.
So him walking on it, it pictures our own awakened awareness being able to rise above all that. Precisely. Rising above fear, chaos, external circumstances. This indication is an invitation for you, the listener, to know that your true self isn't tossed around by the waves of this world.
By emotions or challenges?
Right, but can move with confidence, grounded in divine harmony, finding that inner stillness regardless of the outer storm.
That connects nicely to the next one, number 6, healing the man born blind. John chapter 9, born without sight.
Yes, and metaphysically, this is all about awakening to true perception. True identity.
The man being blind from birth, that symbolizes
That inherited sense of separation, of limitation that many of us just kind of take on board without realizing it. And it's really important to catch Dr. Roy's clarification here.
about sin or karma.
Exactly. He emphasizes it wasn't about blaming the man or his parents, not some punishment. It was simply an opportunity for the activity of spirit to be seen, for a higher truth to break through.
Okay. And the healing itself, the process. Go wash in the pool of Siloam.
That instruction isn't just a physical act. Siloam means sent. It symbolizes a spiritual cleansing, washing away false beliefs, those inherited ideas of limitation.
So the indication is a return to true seeing.
Yes, seeing through the single eye of spirit. That means a unified, intuitive spiritual insight that goes beyond the physical senses, sees past appearances, and recognizes the inherent wholeness in everything.
Moving from limited physical sight to unlimited spiritual vision. Profound.
It really is.
Okay, that brings us to the 7th and final indication. Raising Lazarus from the dead. John chapter 11. This feels like the ultimate one.
It's incredibly significant. Lazarus, his name means God has helped, appears bound by death.
So metaphysically, this is about awakening from the illusion of death.
Yes. Awakening from the illusion of death and separation itself. Lazarus represents that part of us, of humanity, that seems bound by the idea of death, decay, finality.
It could represent anything in our lives that feels dead, couldn't it? Old habits, lost hopes.
Absolutely. Anything that seems final or beyond recovery.
Yeah.
And notice, Jesus wept.
Yeah, why did he weep?
The teaching suggests it wasn't personal grief for Lazarus, but compassion. Compassion for everyone trapped in the lie of death's power, caught in that collective belief.
Okay. And his command. Lazarus, come forth.
That's a divine command. It's calling awareness itself to rise up out of its grave clothes of mistaken identity.
Grave clothes of mistaken identity. What a phrase, like the limiting beliefs we wrap ourselves in.
Precisely, the false assumptions we take on as reality. So this final indication reveals that truly nothing is beyond the reach of spirit, not even what seems like the ultimate finality, death.
Wow. Okay. So wrapping this all up, these 7 indications.
As we bring this deep dive to a close, it's so important to circle back to the core message from Dr. Roy's work.
Yeah.
These 7 signs are not about showing off what one special person could do that no one else can. That misses the point entirely.
Right. Instead, they reveal.
They reveal what every awakened son and daughter, meaning every individual consciousness that's aligned with divine mind, can live from if they abide in their true identity.
By staying connected to that divine mind, that source.
Exactly. Each one is a spiritual code, a living metaphor, showing what's possible when spirit is consciously engaged and flows through our awareness without being filtered by fear or limiting beliefs or the ego.
And the sources leave us with that really powerful thought. They do not ask us to marvel, they ask us to awaken.
That's the call. Not just to be amazed, but to wake up to our own potential.
So the question for you, listening right now, if these miracles really were these spiritual codes, these metaphors for your awakened awareness, what illusions, what limitations in your own life might be ready for that kind of deeper internal transformation?
What's waiting for your awareness to call it forth?
Something to definitely ponder.